All right, looks like we're up and running. Cool. Gonna jump into the chat to start. Hey y'all. So yeah, I've been working on this site for a couple weeks now. It's Gatsby site using MDX and Emotion and Theme UI, some fun stuff. And so this is what we're looking at right now. This is the latest as of last night. I added a new post actually about streaming. So if you are watching and you don't have your setup configured yet, feel free to take a look at this post, and it should walk you through how I got set up for what I'm doing currently. So actually, as part of that, I came up with an idea for what I wanted to do on tonight's stream, which is I want to be able to publish some of these posts and not have them show up in my blog roll, so that I can sort of have things live and then get feedback from friends and other streamers, other writers. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do today is I'm going to add some front matter to all of my blog posts about what status they're in, whether it's preview or publish. And then we'll still create the pages and the slugs so that I can send links around, but I will not have them populate here in my blog roll. So cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to create actually a test post. And I know I'm going to be writing another post coming up about my OBS setup. So I'm actually specifically going to write about how I have music streaming in the background and how I can monitor in my headphones but not out my computer speakers. So I'll just pretend that that's what I'm doing right here. So OBS. And then inside of that, I'll just create the MDX file, which is the actual post itself. And so for now, I'm just going to actually copy some of the front matter from my previous post, and then I'll just give a little bit to work with. So add a title, we'll give it today's date. And right now I don't have any images set up for this, so I'm just going to use the same one that we have on our last post. Just need to run develop again so we can create the new page and the new slug. First attachment is null. Interesting. Yo, what's up, Dom? How's it going? Caught me right as I ran into my first issue. Okay, that's why I need to copy this. So I'm just going to copy and paste this image into the directory for my new fake post. Like I said, it's the same as the one I was using on the last one. Just going to restart my development server. So here's the new post, and essentially what we're going to do while this is restarting is I want to add something in here. This is sort of like a la dev TO. I want to be able to do something like this: preview true, preview false, or something more semantic, maybe published true, published false. And then I'm going to use this in the blog roll to filter stuff out. So, sorry. So yeah, here's the most recent post. This is the dummy post that I just created. So I'm just going to add a little lorem ipsum in there so we have some body text. Oh, I guess my Spotify stream is NSFW, so sorry for that. Okay, cool. So now this should generate, and we should get some content in this post. Yeah, perfect. So dummy text, doesn't matter what's in there right now. And like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through these MDX files and add that very front matter. And for this one that we're working in, our new dummy post, we're going to say published false. And then I'm going to go through these other ones and set them to publish true. And then we'll use that field to filter. I guess I could do just a straight up Boolean here. Yeah. Have this twice. All right, and then so we're just going to copy and paste this publish true into the front matter of all of the other posts since they've already been published. Then we're going to go in here, do the same thing. Super stoked. Picked up a new monitor for Black Friday. Thanks to Dom and Chris for the advice on how to choose a monitor. But hoping the next stream I'll be set up on a 32-inch bad boy and be much easier. Yeah, hell yeah, monitor. Doing it off my 15-inch MacBook Pro. Not the best. All right, cool. So I believe this is the current query I have going for my posts. Here, you know what? We'll actually check that out. So in my blog roll, I have a query that's pulling in all of these posts that I'm looking for. So what I want to do here is I actually just want to replicate this inside of GraphQL so I can see some of the other fields. Because I believe what I need to do is to filter out the stuff that hasn't been published yet, I'm going to have to add a filter to this query itself. And since I'm sort of new to GraphQL, I'm going to do it slowly. So, okay, there we go. I think we need to do query. Cool. I'm actually going to get rid of this attachments object for right now because I'm not too concerned about that. I know that data's working. Same with the body, same with the excerpts. So here we want to check out our new front matter item, which our field, I should say, which as you saw, we set up as published. So we're going to add that here. Yeah, Ben, it definitely is. I used to edit video on a 15-inch MacBook Pro, believe it or not, and that was very challenging, not something I'm looking forward to going back to. Published. I think it's because I need to. I added the front matter, so I think I need to run develop again. I don't know if you all noticed, but I've been having a cocktail during my streams. I've been toying with some ideas for what to call this once I get going more consistently, and came up with something like Harris Happy Hour, something like that. It's the best I have so far, so don't judge it. All right. Cool. So now, as you see here in the query result window in GraphQL, now if we were to add published to our front matter query inside of the index page for our blog roll, we would now get back a result based on the front matter item or field that I just added to the posts themselves. So now what we're going to want to do, and this is probably only this one step, and then we can move on to some of the other issues that I have set up. Let me pull that up real quick. Here's the repo, here are my issues, and so we're looking at this right now. Cool. So using this handy explorer, if you're not familiar with GraphQL, it helps you sort of create your queries and work on just like filtering things out, sorting, that sort of stuff, and also just seeing what fields are even available to you on your different edges, your nodes. So here I'm working with the front matter, and we have published, And so what I want to do is I actually want to filter on this. Let's see. Front matter, publish, equals, true. So I think that's all we really want to do. So basically what we did is to our filter, where we're getting all of our results from the MDX, all MDX query, we're saying, hey, we want to sort our fields by the date in the front matter. We want to order that in descending fashion. And what we want to do is we actually want to filter out things that don't have published set to true. So if that works the way it should, ideally what will happen when I press this play button up here is that we won't see this test item that I just added, this test post. So let's check it out. Cool. So as you see, none of them are that new post that had published false. So all I need to do here is I'm actually going to take this, I'm going to copy and paste it right into my Gatsby project. So I had all MDX. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of this old one. Oh, actually. Happy hour. Yeah, sometimes I'm happy. Depends on how this is going, I bet. Yeah, so actually I want to keep this filter as well because I'm filtering based on, I'm looking just for MDX files that are within this blog directory here. So this is an object, this is an object. So I think I just need to do this, add that back, get rid of this. So now we're looking for all MDX files that are in the blog index. Here, let's do this. That are in the blog directory and that have front matter published equals true. Cool. So as you see, the actual most recent post that I published last night is up. And let's see, if I were to go to prove that this works, let's go to our new post that's set to false in terms of published. And if I flip this bit to true, it should show up now. Yep, there it is. Well, that was an easy one. They are so rare. So published false, I'll leave this false. And actually, let's see. I'm actually going to create a new branch here. So I have aliases set up. So get create branch will create us a new branch. And it's going to add preview filtering to blog index page. Very long branch title, doesn't need to be that long, but you know. So good status. These are all the files that we changed. Let's just double check our diff. So everything has published true now. Some things got formatted as well. Okay, cool. Yep. So now I'm going to add everything, going to commit it, add ability to Cool, now I'm going to push this up to a branch in GitHub just so it's there. And then what I'll do later is I'll merge a PR into my master branch. And the way I have it configured right now is that'll trigger a new build in Netlify, which will then update the site itself, which is pretty sweet. Been pretty happy with that. Okay, cool. And so one thing we want to check out actually, essentially this new post should be available to us even though it's not here. Like we should still be in our Gatsby node file. When we're running through all of our MDX files, we should still be getting this file and creating both the page and the slug. So we're creating the page here, and then we're creating a file path, creating the node itself to be queried. So theoretically, if we did this right, when I go to this path, we should see a post, which we do. which is awesome, which means that we've created both the slug and the page for this file. We can share it with people. It'll be live if I were to merge in this PR. It'd be on my live production site within minutes. But I can send it out to friends and get feedback, which is really cool. Even though here to the average visitor to my page, they would have no idea that that's there. So cool. That's super fun. So I guess we consider this this issue here closed out. We're doing essentially what I had listed out here, except I had initially thought of it more as like, is this post a preview or is it published? Or is it a preview as opposed to is it published? But I think it's probably more semantic to just say published, true or false. Anybody that was looking at the code, if for some reason somebody else was working in here, I think they'd have a better idea of what was going on. So I'm going to close out this issue. Cool. Another one bites the dust, so to speak. Yeah, another thing I had wanted to do, actually, this might be a good idea to do now, since we're already working in the same area, is I wanted to add tags to my blog posts, and then it's sort of that in conjunction with this other issue here with SEO. I'm not really doing too much with that right now. My SEO component, I believe, where is that? Yeah, the SEO component on all of my pages right now is just taking the title, but especially in the blog posts, we're going to have more information about this file because we're querying against a markdown file. So I'd like to add some information, sort of like we have here, a front matter description or excerpt. Currently, that's some boilerplate that's there from previously, but let's see. Did I add that? Yeah, so originally what I did was... Oh, okay, cool, Ben. Yeah, so I just wanted to add them because I thought that maybe what I could do there is... I need to look into this SEO component, but my thinking was if I had a list of tags, then I could pipe them into the SEO component as some sort of keywords for the meta. And maybe I could use that to help my SEO performance here, because right now I'm not really doing anything. I have the title of the post and I have the front matter description, which actually, if we look here, I don't have that in any of these. So we could actually get rid of this because I'm just relying on the excerpt. And the excerpt right now. Hey, what's up, Dom? How's all the AV setup going? Everything good over there? Cool. Yeah, did you get the Elgato or whatever it's called? Nice. Yeah, I'm thinking of getting the, what is the 4K capture where you can, is that the one that plugs into the USB, or is that the like little hub that sits off to the side? Let's see, excerpts. Yeah, so right now, for all my blog posts, the title is being generated from the front matter of the index file in every subdirectory over here for each post. And then the description is just being I'm just essentially dumping out the auto-generated excerpt, but oh, cool, PCI, nice. Components.seo, SEO. This was like included with the Gatsby blog, so I'm just gonna take a look at this real quick. Okay, cool. It just drops stuff into Helmet for us. Oh, how nice. They have default props and prop types. Very nice. So description, language, title. So I'm doing a description. We can definitely do language. I would imagine that would be an EN, but I gotta double check that. Meta. Well, if your key lights can change intensity, you can just use one of them as the fill light. It actually works out pretty well because it's like the same light quality. Yeah, so what you want to do, like the only difference between the key and the fill usually is the intensity and sometimes the quality, as in is it direct, is it soft? So you can either dim it or you can bounce it off of something, or you can diffuse it with some sort of diffusion, and like that'll create enough visual difference between the two for it to be considered fill versus key. Yeah, you got it. So helmet, I gotta get familiar with this. I know helmet is a package for managing your headers and your like meta and description keywords, author, all that stuff. And written by, I believe, developers and engineers at the NFL. NPM helmet. Cool. Hey, thanks for the follow, Rapping Org. Yeah, Dom, I mean, this is not the right one, is it? This component works, but it's a question of whether or not the actual helmets themselves work. So I'm just looking here to see, I want to see what like the valid values for language are. Yeah, this is what I'm assuming it is. Lang equals N for English. Yeah, it's a super clever name, actually. I really like that. Where was I? Blog posts. Yeah, so I think what we want to do here is something as simple as that. Yeah, so it looks like it's showing up here. Let's see. I didn't even check if it was showing up prior to that. It might be the default, but let's see. It seems to be defaulting to that. So the SEO component renders helmet. Lang. Where's it getting that from? Let's see, where's this Lang coming from? So it's coming through automatically. Use static, yeah, right? Okay, that's what it's doing. So yeah, it's already getting the EN because we're defaulting here. So we don't need to actually pass in this value because we're actually using English right now. I think something we could do in the future is dynamically check the browser potentially and then change that. But I don't know if we actually want to do that. If we want to think that the N sort of represents the document itself, not the browser settings. Okay, cool. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to arbitrarily add some tags here just so we can start getting this going. So tags. OBS. Live streaming. So this is what I would imagine would come back as an array of strings in our MDX query. So let's double check that. I'm going to have to update I don't think these are going to come through because I need to regenerate the application using the Gatsby develop, but let's see. Tags. I don't think it's going to recognize that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Anybody buy anything fun for Black Friday, Cyber Monday? I know Dom did. I myself finally bought a new phone. It's been a long time coming. And like I said, I bought a monitor for live streaming, so. Hey Ben, that's not a bad pickup actually. Tags. Did you mean tag? I did mean tag. Okay, so that's my bad. I'm gonna take this out for right now because I actually do want to show everything. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm just going to copy this query again because why not? Nice. Chris, which ones did you get? Get this out of here. And then we want to check the tag, which I have to rename it to tags. Let's do false. Let me see the one. Cool. Yeah, so here we go. We got a list of tags. It's an array of strings. Perfect. We can do a bunch with that. Oh, cool. Yeah, I was thinking of getting this. I think it's this one for my DSLR, just because if now with a monitor I'm going to have my HDMI used up by my monitor, like my output is going to be used to plug into the monitor. So I'm thinking if I plug this into my USB port and then hook up my camera's HDMI out into this, that I can then do both. Christmas for Demetrius. Yeah, Demetrius, I feel like you'd make a certain type of Santa. I don't know if good or bad, happy, mad, but I feel like you'd rock that. You got the beard for it. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna go through quick and add some tags. I think the belly's the easy part to get, Demetrius. I'm working on it right now, 35 years young. So JSX, let's do React. Dom, it might very well be. I'm on a certain telecom that is based here in Philadelphia and doesn't really provide the greatest service, but I'm planning on switching to Fios so I don't have to deal with these bandwidth issues, so bear with me. So JX. Yeah, Chris. Yep. I mean, we all know who I'm talking about, so. Cool, so I think this one is just JSX, React. I don't think there's much else we can do there. Open source, okay, cool. So this one is, we're gonna add some tags as well. And we'll do open source. I guess what I can do is, I have a couple like getting started style articles, so maybe that's a tag for now. Is that I don't know if I'm being trolled or not based on the URL that you just dropped there, Chris, but so cool. So that's the open source. Then we're gonna do Vue and React. This one has a couple easy tags we can add. React, Vue, cool. I guess we can add just straight up JavaScript on this one too. And that should probably go for JSX as well. Then redoing search. First of all, let's get rid of these. And then let's add some tags. React, context. Yeah, I think the main cause of my issues with the internet are, if you look in the alley behind my house, the way the wires are dangling from their given poles and trees that seem to be supporting them. Probably not helping. So here we go. This one. Yeah, the wire connecting to my house. You know, they're not power cables. Luckily, they're just internet cables. But yeah, it's not. It's very Philadelphia. Okay, cool. Live streaming. So Mixer, OBS, live stream. What else I got in here? Let's do audio and video. Just why not? Yeah, Ben, it's probably not safe. I don't know. It's just how it goes here. And it's sort of like the Wild West up here sometimes. Just because I'm living in a neighborhood that classic story of losing a lot of industry over time. So now it's like sort of being redeveloped. So the infrastructure can't really handle it. Okay. Cool, so this adds tags to everything. I think the only one that had, yeah, this one has tag. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, I mean, I went to school in Ithaca, so it's a little bit like that, where you have like sort of a slightly developed area surrounded by area where all the businesses left. So my neighborhood's called Brewery Town, actually, and that's there used to be active breweries here, I guess, like way back when, and so it was like a very popular area. A lot of people worked, obviously, at the breweries, and after those factories sort of shut down, everything else went with it. So, okay, cool. So now we're back up. Let's see. So now we should have tags on everything. I'm gonna remove this because we don't need to filter by that anymore. We just want to see all the posts and all the tags. So we got tags. Cool. So there's two things we could do here. Oh, you got the snow coming? I always gotta look, Ben. Whenever it starts to snow, gotta look, see what's going on in Watertown. That's where the action happens. Let's see it. Come on. Right now here in Philadelphia, we're just having a little bit of rain. Sort of gross out, but all right. That's not going well. I'm sure it's cold. I'm sure it's snowing. Cool. Get rid of that. So now, in every blog post, okay, cool. Yeah, so what we're going to do here now is now we're in the actual blog posts page. And so this is where we do the query this is the template that we render our blog posts in. And those are all of the MDX files that are in our blog subdirectory. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add to the front matter. We want to get the tags off of each of the files that we've created. So one of the ways we can confirm that's happening is I'm just going to log out our props. So this should be all of our tags. So if I were to go to this page, I should now see a list of tags, which I don't. The post. Yeah, post isn't defined, of course. So let's just look at this.props. Basically, I'm just going to take the tags off of here, and then we're going to dump them into helmet. Cool, so here's our props. Let's see, we got data, MDX. Data.frontmatter.tags, okay. Data. So basically what we want to do is actually, MDX has everything in it, so we actually want to do console.log post.tags. All right, that should work. Oh, it's post.frontmatter. Yeah, okay. Should have seen this right here. Cool, so there's the tags being logged out right now, and those are the 5 associated with this post. So what I want to do is look at this document here. I just want to see like the way that we would go about adding some keywords to our meta. So MDN. Meta. Yeah, here we go. Keywords, which contains words relevant to the page content separated by commas. So that's what we have. I'm just looking to see what an example of that would look like. Because we have this here, but I don't think we can dump just the array in, but let's see. SEO, and inside of this we have so it actually doesn't look like helmet right now is configured to take the keywords. So let's go back to helmet. Oh, so I think what we can do here is do something like that. Name equals keyword. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to iterate through our list of tags up here. So tags equals, and we'll just set this to a local variable just for ease. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these tags, and inside of here, we're going to create a block of JSX where for every tag, we're going to create a meta tag. So we want to take the tag, and I'm actually going to console.log the tag. This is just for me to, so this should take all the tags and return them. But what we're essentially going to want to do is we're going to want to do meta so it looks like there's a way to, so this SEO component is taking in some props from above, and it's iterating through, it's creating this meta object, and then it's concatenating it with meta. So I think what I need to do is I also need to pass in an array with these values. So what we want to do is we want to take these tags, we want to map them, and then for each tag, instead of doing this, I think we want to pass in this tags meta, because this field, so basically what it looks like is that we have this tags meta, and this tags meta is going to get passed in to our SEO component, because in our SEO component, we're rendering helmet, and helmet has a list of defined meta tags, but it's also concatenating meta. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to pass in an array that has this similar shape where it's a list of names and content, or property and content. I guess it depends on which one we're talking about. And then it gives it content. So we're going to have an array that sort of takes every one of these tags that we had rendered out somewhere. Oh, broke. But we're going to take those tags and we're going to pass them in an array that looks like this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say tags meta. That's going to be tags.map. So we're going to go through each one and we're going to return an object that represents the meta tag. And this is going to get passed down into SEO. So what we need to do is each one of these is an object. So we're going to want to return an object from each of these items in the array of tags. And it's going to have either a name and content or a property and content. So I got to double check what that should be. But I think it's going to be property. Actually, it might be name. Keyword. And this will be tag. And so now we should get a list of tags. Okay, cool. Aha, there they are. It looks like they're in here. So we have some keywords that are basically built off a list of tags that we create in our MDX file. So we just create a simple list in Markdown, and then it gets rendered out as meta tags within our header. That's pretty easy to do. Pretty nice too. That makes hopefully some of our SEO scores will go up. Let me just double check that that's what it's called. So, yeah, so that's the name because it's keywords. Okay, cool. So that sounds like a really good enhancement for us to make. And it looks like I don't see any information actually in our HTML of the rendered page. Oh, here we go, Twitter creator. Okay, cool. So we have a description, but I believe there's an author as well. Look at meta tags in here. Meta. So we have description, name, title, blah, blah, blah. And now we have those. That's cool. And I think what we want to do, I think one of the keywords is author. Yeah, exactly. Which defines the name of the document's author. Sweet. So I think what we want to do is we're going to want to add that as well here, because that should also help with our SEO performance, I would imagine. I'm not a SEO professional, so bear with me. But I think we can just add this in the Gatsby config, actually. Yeah, actually, we already have this, the author, right? Let's see. Do we have this show up anywhere else? Author, license, metadata. So it doesn't look like we're using it anywhere. So I think what we're going to want to do here is we're actually going to want to take the author. Where's that? So we're actually plucking it off of our site metadata from the Gatsby config when we do our GraphQL query. We're not using it anywhere, which is interesting. So I'm going to create a metadata array because what I want to do is I essentially want to, as we find more things that we need to add to the metadata for our blog posts in order to make them more performant, in terms of SEO, we're going to need to concatenate all of these things. So my thinking here is that instead of passing this tags meta in directly, I'm going to pass in this meta object, and that'll go here, because I also want to do, I want to pass in the author information. So that would be the site metadata author. So we could do something like this. And I could easily destructure these props to make them a little cleaner. I'm just going to leave them like this for right now and then refactor that later. So we're going to want the meta, and we're also going to want the fact that we have the author. So that's going to be a pretty simple object that's just going to be a name, and it's going to be author because that's the name attribute in the meta tag that we're adding here. And then the content is actually just going to be author. So we don't even need to instantiate this here. Let's just do that directly. Cool. And so now we have these two objects, but essentially what we want to do is we're going to make, and we could do this. I don't think we need to instantiate that. We could just do this. Const meta data is just tags meta dot concat. Actually, let's see. I think there's a better way to do this. Always got to look to MDN whenever you're doing an array method, or at least if you're me, that's how it works. Let's see. So we have concat. I essentially want to do something like this. We want to do tags meta.concat author meta. Now this should return to us a array with both of these items in them. In terms of, when I say both items, I mean the metadata about the author as well as the metadata about the tags. And then because we're constructing these objects properly, the SEO component knows what to do when we pass them in as meta, and we'll just tack them on to the other things that it's creating automatically due to Helmet. So let's see. Cool. Here's author, and here are our tags. That looks pretty good to me. We have some of this other stuff that's auto-generated. We could fix that up at another time, but even here, I think this is just a small win for us in terms of SEO. So I'm going to commit that as well after I take away this console.log. Okay, so all the tags we added, now we added the meta, cool, perfect. All right, so add tags. So we're adding tags to blog posts, we're querying for adding them to the query. We're adding to the query in the blog post template, and then what we're doing is we're adding them to the SEO. Cool. So I'm going to push this up just in case anything were to happen. Awesome. So now before we move on, what we should do is we should probably test this in another post to make sure it's working, because we saw it just in that one, but we obviously added metadata to, or tags that should render metadata, I should say, into all of these. So if we go in here, let's see what happens. Go in the header. Cool, same thing. Keywords, author. And for this one, 3 steps getting started with open source. Let's just confirm that's what we're looking for. So we have 2 keywords, open source, getting started. We have 2 keywords, open source, getting started. And then the author we just took off of the site metadata. So we're doing really good there. Cool. All right, so that means I get to close out some more issues on GitHub, everybody's favorite. So I added tags to the blog post. I'm going to close this out. Cool. And then we also want to go back to GitHub. And Ben, in the future, I'm going to have some questions for you, my friend, about GitHub Actions. I have a couple ideas for upcoming streams. Essentially, I would like to see if I can use GitHub Actions to automate a tweet every time I add a new post to my blog directory and then merge it into master. So, don't know if that's possible, but I would imagine it is. So we'll have to chat about that. Because tweeting a new article is, something I don't want to do every time I publish. So I figure if I can automate that in GitHub somehow and trigger some sort of job, that would be great. Cool. Okay. So this is the front matter I wanted to add. It was the tags and the author for now. Obviously, I think in the future there's going to be more things I want to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this out as well as I'm working off of this list for the stream. So this means I'm getting close to, I'm going to need some more things to work on. So I'll definitely think about some more. One of which I want to work on a Gatsby theme that sort of like dynamically determines whether or not I'm streaming when you come to my page, and if so, then you see a little banner with a direct link. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was trying to look at the docs earlier. I wanted to see what happens like if you merge something into master. Do you have access to some sort of diff in the payload when the request goes out when the action fires, and then if so, can you sort of like consume some of that data? For example, like if I were to be able to see that info, I could do a regex and get this title, and then just have a standard tweet that essentially is like, "Hey, I just posted a new article called," and then drop this in dynamically, and then add a link based on the URL. Then that would be pretty rad. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do on today's stream, I'm actually going to log in Netlify because I'm going to merge this PR, and I just want to show you how, or I'm sure most people know, but essentially what's happening here is, so now these are my production deploys, and as you might have noticed, what I did is I actually pushed to a different branch, because every time something new changes in master, it triggers a deploy in Netlify. So as I bundle up work, I don't want that to happen even though I'm backing things up to GitHub. So the workflow I've sort of settled on for the moment is that I'm going to just create new branches like you normally would. And then when I have a chunk of work that I want to go in and I want to go live, then I merge that in directly into master. So that's what I'm going to do right now, because I feel like what we just did is worthy of a PR. So even though I'm just the only one working on this repo, I like to stay in sort of practice of making sure I document things as if I was working on a team. I feel like it keeps me sharp. So give me a second here while I write this PR out, and then we'll merge it and I'll show you that the deploy triggered. So this PR allows you to add new fields. It's going to have you add published, which is a Boolean, and then tags, which is a array. I don't know if this is how you do it in Java. That's sort of like what it looks like in Java. It's an array of strings. front matter specifically, and then also on our blog index page, we've updated the query to only display posts that have published true in their front matter. Cool. Yeah, so here's the diff. We have some formatting stuff here in the MDX files, which is fine. Prettier is just creating some diff. And then here's the real stuff we did with the publish true and the tags, publish true tags. Cool. And then here's our new metadata that's going into the SEO component, and then here's our filter that's now only pulling out the published posts. So I'm actually going to add that. This PR adds these things. It allows us to only see published true, and also we've added the tags and site author info as meta tags to the header of our page, or the head, I should say. Cool. So now I'm going to create this PR. I'm the only one working in here, so I'm the only one that can approve it, I guess, for right now. But as you see, like immediately we have some checks that have started that are Netlify integrations. They're checking to see that this can be deployed and a couple other things in terms of the headers. So I'm going to wait for that to run real quick. So if anybody has any questions. Yeah, Ben, that's like one of the things. I'm not very super opinionated about too much in terms of process when it comes to engineering, just because I'm sort of like open, especially since I've only been doing it for about 3 or 4 years. But one thing I'm adamant about is making sure PR descriptions are good and sort of like lead breadcrumbs back to whatever issue may arise from the code that got in during that PR. So that's something I try to do at work all the time. And you know, we're going through some growth, so we don't have a standard in that way yet, but I'm trying to sort of like bear the flag in terms of like, let's get this process going to make sure that when we all inevitably break something, we can go back and find where the break happened and fix it more easily. So, and this way I can just also keep, like, ideally what I should do here actually is, and I can do this right now, another best practice, or good practice I should say, is since I actually closed out some issues here, I can actually comment on that. Close issue. So we closed, let's see, how do you tag an issue? I know how a hash is for a PR. Let's see, issue. Issue is a number, okay. Okay, cool. So it's also numbers. So we closed number 13, and we closed number 11, and we closed number 10. Wow, we were pretty productive today. Add front matter, add preview status to blog front matter, and add tags. Okay, cool. So I'll update that comment. That's just a good way to go about it, and then you can sort of like tie work directly back to issues as they were closed and what PR it was that actually closed them. Ah, cool. Thanks for the link, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've never done that before, or I haven't done that in the past, just because the place where I work day to day, we don't use issues to keep track of work. We use an external ticketing system. So I'm used to manually linking like this, but yeah, you're right. I could have just listed closes 13, 10, 11, 13. Cool. Awesome. All right, so I think my checks have all passed, or at least 2 of them have. The other ones don't have icons, so interesting. Okay, they've all passed. So I'm gonna merge this pull request in. And now if we go into my deploy list, already building. So we're already building off of the master branch. This deploy preview was built earlier when we pushed up the branch with the work that I just merged into master. So that's like an interesting thing that's going on here in Netlify. It's creating like previews, which I still have yet to figure out like my full workflow here. But I guess ideally what I could do is, if I wasn't already filtering out the unpublished posts, I could potentially push posts to a new branch and then send people a preview deployment environment. I don't know, Ben, does that sound right? Cool, so we'll just watch this go out, and then we'll double check that our production matches what we expected, and then that'll be all we'll do for today, and then we'll come back later this week and do a little bit more fun stuff. Still building. Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I did like very minor tweaks, like if I was building an actual application, I would absolutely want to do that. But it's cool. I'm super interested in this. I think I'm going to be leveraging functions in the near future for sure. So that'll definitely have to pick your brain about that, because I've been playing around with Netlify Dev locally and really enjoy the experience in terms of like being able to invoke the functions. It reminds me a lot of working with serverless. So that's always fun when you can test out your shitty JavaScript logic locally before you deploy it and end up paying for compute power. Cool, so here we go, published already. Netlify, thank you. Okay, so here's the current post, but as we know, we actually have a secret post hiding, so we should be able to see it at this path. Cool, that's there, so hidden. But if we go back to our actual posts, we open one of them, let's check out our header. We should now see that meta that we added previously. Here they are, all our keywords, our author. So it's now live in production, and that was all within the course of like 2 minutes after pushing to Netlify. So it's the beauty of modern day web development. So yeah, that's all I was gonna do today. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Ryan_C_Harris. You can ping me in the Mixer chat. I'm also available in Party Corky Discord, and if you happen to be here in Philadelphia, in the React to Delphia Discord community as well. So feel free to hit me up. All right, well, that's it. So I'll see y'all later. Peace.